Shut up and sit down. And sit down.
All right, everybody, welcome to the 360 Sports Show. Once again, coming to you at a special time here on a Tuesday, the 1st of February, 2022. I am Andrew Pizzelli. He is Christian Lauber. You can reach us anytime through any of the comment sections of the live streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. There is a multitude to sort through. So we're going to try our best to not get too bogged down and run around in circles. But we've got Tom Brady's retirement, Brian Flores suing the NFL, effectively his retirement from coaching. Oh, yeah, and the conference championships happened this past weekend. So today is going to be a lot of NFL stuff here on the program, for better or worse. And Christian, I say, let's start with Tom Brady.
I disagree. I think we go games first.
You want to go games first?
Yeah, that is.
You want to rip through the games? Because I felt like we're just gonna get distracted. But if you think we can do it, let's do it. Fine, we'll start.
We're not gonna get through them either way, so it doesn't matter if we do them now or later. I think we do the games first.
All right, fine. So that'll be the order of business here. What do you want? Let's set this right now. We're gonna go games. Then what? Then what? What are we doing next?
And we'll just go Brady. Yeah, I mean.
All right, games, Brady, and then Flores, and then leftovers. So that's the order of business right now, folks. If you have any thoughts or questions about anything, just drop them in the comment section, and we will get to them. Because
if we start Brady Flores, we might never get out of it. So there's
That's true.
No point.
That's true. So games for now. So let's rewind the brain and go back to this past Sunday, and we will start with Cincinnati at Kansas City. The Bengals down at half, down, what was it, 21-3 was the deficit at one point?
Yep.
Down 11 at the half. They come back to win in overtime on the road in Kansas City. Joe Burrow, Evan McPherson. Talk about the team nobody thought would be there. But the Cincinnati Bengals will be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. Christian, what is more stunning, that the Bengals won or how it happened?
Well, it's definitely the Chiefs' collapse. I mean, if the Chiefs are right, they blow doors in the game. And not even if they're right, they had everybody in the game. But if they just played like they can, I mean, their offense just took a complete 180 from where it was in the first half. So, and Patrick Mahomes is at the top of that list. He was in like 11 or 12 minus plays in the second half. That just cannot happen in a big game like that. For him, it hurts because he's been there, 4 times now, and he's only got one ring here. Yeah. So, I mean, for all the people that want to say, well, Tom Brady who? Because, Patrick Mahomes is going to get there every year. Here we go again. They blew it in the second half, and they are now out of it. I think the Patriots from this past year was compared to 2001 Patriots a lot. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are more like the 2001 Patriots than the actual Patriots were. So
true.
They're kind of on that
second-year quarterback with championship pedigree.
And you pick the 49ers as that team that has a run in them. Little did we know it would be the Bengals.
True. Yeah. I think obviously we both had picked the Chiefs to win this game. Full on allowing for the Bengals the opportunity, like the Bengals could win this. They just beat them a few weeks ago. Like they're capable, but we said, hey, Patrick Mahomes, playoffs, it's a different animal. For better or worse, this is Mahomes' fourth conference championship. Burrow, this has been a nice run, but, will it end in KC? Will the moment be too big? Moment definitely not too big. That kid is cool as a cucumber. And you can see it just the way he plays on the field, under pressure, and then coming to the sideline, just that, that kind of that Brady ice in the veins type thing.
Not only can he play, he has that thing about him that he's just a leader. I don't know. He was at LSU too, but the NFL is a different animal, and he's
doing it with the Cincinnati Bengals, Christian.
Yeah.
The Cincinnati Bengals. But I think the way the game played out in the first half, you looked at it and said, well, the Chiefs are just running up and down the field. Like, the Bengals may turn it around offensively because they didn't start well. You didn't think in 2018, Patriots go there, they beat the Chiefs. But that was, the Patriots played like their best half of football and then hung on for dear life and had to play offense in a year where their offense was not all that high powered. And, keep pace, hold on, get to overtime, lucky, wing, get the coin toss, go down and win.
Well, the greatest player of all time was on the other side too. So
but I'm saying this was Chiefs dominating the first half, Bengals also not playing well, making mistakes of their own, and then it completely seesawing the other way in the second half. And I don't know if it's karma, like that play at the end of the first half, where the Chiefs have no timeouts, which, again, thank you, Andy Reid. Just another lack. People wanted it this week. We're talking about, has he turned a corner the way they win that Bills game and all the timeouts and managing it perfectly? No, Patrick Mahomes manages it perfectly. In that situation, that was, let me call a timeout and then throw a flag. Oh, wait, now I'm going to get charged another timeout? Oops. Yeah. So that's Andy Reid's fault for them not having enough timeouts at the end. But 5 seconds to go. Chiefs want to go for it. I guess Patrick Mahomes pushing it. It's like, you're the coach. Say, no, we're taking the points. Or at least you have a play to the end zone. Don't throw short to Tyreek Hill, the guy who's guaranteed to be doubled and be like, all eyes are on him. And I think that was a little bit of, you mess with the game and the game messes back. Because I think the difference between being up 14 versus 11, the Bengals had to be feeling great. Hey, we just played maybe our worst half of the playoffs, and we're only down 11. And we're making mistakes, and we know we can make adjustments. We came back and beat this team just a few weeks ago. So I think the Chiefs hurt a little bit of their own momentum there, but obviously the credit goes, the Bengals defense had Mahomes stumped. They changed up some things. They weren't just giving him the easy throws to Kelsey and Hill. I don't know why they were giving them in the first half to begin with, but they took away the easy stuff and kind of just made Mahomes run around with just 4 and 3-man rushes. So it's incredible. In a way, once that game ended, it was like, well, this is going to be a great Super Bowl no matter what, because you're going to have the 3 remaining quarterbacks all will have won their first. Teams that haven't won or haven't won in a long time. Here we go. Colin in the comment section. Are we seeing the next great choke artist? The Patrick Mahomes that went into the locker room at halftime was not the same Patrick who played the second half. We'd have to have a much bigger sample size to start calling Patrick Mahomes Aaron Rodgers, because at least Patrick Mahomes has already gone back to a second Super Bowl. This same kind of thing has happened to Russell Wilson. Win a Super Bowl, get back, lose it, and then not get back, and then it's hard.
Happens very often.
The way the league is set up is to basically you have maybe a 3 to 5 year window, and then your quarterback signs a big deal, and then if you manage it right, maybe you can build back another team around him with him being paid a lot of money, and maybe you get 2 windows to really make a crack at it. That's it. With one team, if you're the quarterback.
With that being said, the Chiefs were in a commanding position here at halftime.
They absolutely were, and I think things are only going to get tougher for them going forward. But we're not going to dwell too much on the Chiefs' needs, because I do want to give a lot of credit to the Bengals. Colin also says Andy Reid's School of Clock Management makes a triumphant comeback. Yeah, no, bad. And it's so predictable. That happens, and you'd say those 3 points, those are going to come back to bite them. That was the difference between them losing and winning that game. Instead of having 7 minutes to go get a field goal to tie it, here's a tie game. That field goal wins the game at the end of regulation.
Yeah.
So it's surprising that the Chiefs went down like that because of it seesawing against them. Colin also says, I knew Burrow could scramble, but I didn't know he could extend plays the way that he did. That's one thing that I took out of it too, was I think last week everybody looked at Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and said, oh my God, if you don't have a quarterback like that, you'll never win. And I look at Joe Burrow, and he's a guy that is mobile. He's not like a stone back there, but he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not even Josh Allen. But when he had to, hey, get outside and pick up some yards. I think we got to pump the brakes a little bit on the fact that, unless you're this prototype quarterback, you're never going to win a championship. Joe Burrow is not the modern-day NFL prototype quarterback.
No, but I would say, there is a big difference between Joe Burrow and a guy like Mac Jones, Mac Jones is more stationary. I mean, that's just factual. Burrow is the type of guy that's really elite at being a pocket passer, but also if he needs to extend a play, that's key. I mean, that's what you have to do in the NFL. I don't think you necessarily, like people say, oh yeah, it's great to have Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, but you don't need that if you have a guy like Burrow who's so good in the pocket and then can kind of do what Brady did late in his career, which is kind of extend plays, give yourself a little bit more time to make, get a guy open, and having a guy like Jamar Chase helps that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even looking at, Mac Jones specifically, but also like Justin Herbert. He's not a runner. The Bills and the Chiefs, like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, they use those guys' legs. And Mahomes,
my only point is that there's a good in between for Burrow where he's kind of in between the more stationary side and the run around and have to do everything for your team type of guy, which is Allen and Mahomes. I mean, you're asking the guy to do too much if you're asking him to be Josh Allen, especially against Patrick Mahomes. So
yeah.
I don't know. The task wasn't too tall for Burrow. I think I like Burrow. I think Burrow's got a really, really bright future. He's in the upper echelon already of quarterbacks in the league.
Especially if he wins a ring. I mean, we're going to get into that matchup, obviously, next week. No time to get into that matchup today. So any other thoughts, Christian, coming out of the Cincy KC game? I have one, but if you have any others.
Not really. I just think, I think the Bengals were missing something years ago with Andy Dalton, and I just think it's pretty clear what Burrow brings as opposed to a guy like Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's a typical, bottom 15 quarterback, which is not bad, but he's not great. You get a guy like Burrow, a clear pick, and he changes the franchise. It's not like, it's not like the Bengals were right there, ready to play for a Super Bowl. The quarterback elevates up the NFL team like no other. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you get a guy like that after tanking for however long you do, and he can just raise your level that much more.
Yeah. I'd say the only other thing I kind of took away from that game was that, thank God, the Chiefs did not go right down the field and score in overtime to end it, because the whole overtime debate, which I still think should continue into the offseason, that discussion needs to be had. There should be a change. But it would have felt even worse too. Like 2 weeks in a row, they win the toss and go down and win. It would have felt so dirty. So avoiding that, I was happy for.
It was huge.
Huge with the capital Y. The next game, I did not pick either of these games correct this weekend. The San Francisco 49ers, the team of destiny that we felt. Cinderella had to go home. That Lamborghini turned back into a pumpkin. They blow a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Where have we seen this before?
To the Los Angeles Rams, who also they tried to give away the game again too. Matt Stafford. Sure. So in the end, though, the Rams, they make the plays when they have to, and they win and knock off the Niners. Not totally stunning. We knew that this would probably be a tightly contested game, divisional rivals. Niners had won 6 straight over the Rams. How long does that last? Honestly, it was an entertaining game, but this is kind of like a little bit of like the Bucks Rams thing. It was like, this is sloppy. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
every time either quarterback dropped back to pass, you were like, So.
Oh,
it
well,
was,
less so with one guy, but yeah.
Later, what's the guy's name? Tart, who just dropped a breadbasket interception that would have sealed the game. I
Yeah,
mean, Matt Stafford
sure,
could have
yeah.
had that. Right now, he's living in the moment. This is him like trying to get the monkey off his back right now, and it's like 2
One
weeks
team
in a
made a
row.
play,
It's
the
like
other
2
didn't.
weeks in a row. He's come very close to
Well, I mean, yeah.
ending it
I mean,
himself.
I don't know if you could put the Tampa Bay game on him.
He almost
His
he
team,
fumbled it in that last possession.
yeah,
He
his
fumbled the
team
ball.
also hiked it over his head and missed a field goal
All
short
right,
from
true.
90 yards. Like,
Either
yeah.
way, possessions with the game on the line the last 2 weeks, he's either put the ball on the ground or into another guy's chest. That's
Yeah,
fact.
I mean, hey,
That's
he's a guy
facts.
that's never been here. Jimmy has. So, I mean, one guy's been here and one guy hasn't. So,
Yeah, and Jimmy, despite having been there, man, it was the most
same old problem.
unfortunate way. And I don't know. Now it turns into one of those. It's like it's just a thing. I don't know where it started. It started like, oh, he needs to have this signature win or moment or get to, in a big game, lead a drive to go win, which he has done. And so I don't know how it's devolved to this point where I almost feel like he's in his own head, where it's like he can't even make a throw in the fourth quarter, or
Yeah. Super Bowl. That's where it
becomes
happened.
inaccurate. Maybe it just got into his head.
Weren't
And it's just
weren't they
never
up 10 in
left.
the Super Bowl against Mahomes?
They were. So
That'll change you.
I don't know how necessarily it got that far into his brain where it's affecting his play on the field the way it is, but it's evident. You see it late in these last few games, an inability to make plays, which is unfortunate because the guy I think has some intangibles and has skills. Obviously, we say, oh, he's not tough. He battled through injury this year.
At the end of the year.
At the end of the year. Do you think that was Jimmy Garoppolo's last game in San Francisco? And if so, where does he play next?
Oh, yeah. I'm waiting for everybody to start yelling at each other now on both of those sides, both those camps. Is between the 40. I mean, look, the 49ers basically didn't want him to begin with before the year started. So I have to believe it's his last game. And I was so fixated on that. What was the second part of the question? Where is he going to go?
If he's not in San Fran, where does he go?
Last year you asked me this, I would have said maybe the Bears or somewhere like that, but they got a young quarterback, a lot of young quarterbacks around the league. So I don't know. Maybe it depends on where Aaron Rodgers goes. I feel like he's the first shoe to drop, but Denver's a spot that maybe would take a chance on him. Another team that needs a quarterback, Tampa. He wouldn't go there, but I don't know. It's going to be tough for him because I think there's a lot of young quarterbacks that are kind of, getting a chance here within the next year or two.
Depends on what happens. If he's traded, it's going to have to be to a spot where he is the starter. If he's released, then I think there's a whole lot of other options because a team could say, hey, sure, we'll bring you on. You're an insurance policy. So now you're looking at maybe the Raiders with the people they got down there. Maybe it's Houston, Tampa. I mean, they're not going to trade for him. They can't take the money. But if he's cut, hey, bring him in for a year, stopgap. Maybe Trask isn't ready. Or maybe we want to roll with Trask, but Jimmy's, it's just the veteran backup. Be ready. He starts wetting the bed. Hey, we feel like we can be competitive. We're going to throw out a quarterback that's competent. You see that happen. That's what Ryan Fitzpatrick made a career out of.
Sure. Yeah.
So I definitely still think there's a spot for him in the league.
New England, maybe?
I don't know. To come back, I mean, he'd have to be the backup, and I don't know necessarily.
I think he's a starter here, right?
No shot. I mean, hey, stranger things have happened, right? It would depend on where Jimmy is with what does he want? If he wants to be a starter, I think that those spots are far and few between for him.
Carolina,
right now.
Denver, I don't know. Where else?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be leftovers somewhere.
There's not a lot of spots. Yeah.
Colin says Jimmy G feels like spoiled goods at this point. 49ers are already looking for trade partners for him, apparently. Yeah, I mean, they're going to try.
Yeah, they were trying last year too. So
Yeah, they were trying last year too, but that didn't work out too well. And now it's even worse. Teams, sure, we'll trade for him for a 7th-round draft pick. We know you want to get rid of the guy. So, how much do you think, Christian, that I've heard a lot of talk that, hey, it's been a nice story, but that they're worried about the Matt Stafford story getting overblown. Like that this is Matt Stafford coming and proving something. Is it him proving something to the world, or is it him just like he finally just had a team? Like he was always a good quarterback. He just never had competent coaching or a team around him. Do you feel like the Matt Stafford, like that whole storyline is starting to get overblown?
To be honest, I haven't heard too much of it. I think if you're telling me that he is carrying a team to the Super Bowl and proving everybody wrong, I just disagree. I mean, he's been a Pro Bowler. He's been a pretty good quarterback throughout his whole career. He had a pretty bad team almost every single year, maybe but like once. I can't even remember. But I think he has always been good, and now he's getting a chance to kind of prove that he is good and that he belongs in that class of guys who can win a title and get there and do it. So I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen as much of the overblown storylines as you, but I would say I don't know how much he has to prove. I think it's important for him to get one because I think he should be in that class. I think he's a top 12 quarterback in the league, but he never had a team to do it. And now he does.
Yeah.
Also, the coach is pretty good too.
Speaking of him, Shanahan, Reid, and Taylor, the coaches from this weekend. Out of those four, who do you trust the most and the least in the last 2 minutes of a football game?
God. Most, it's got to be. Jeez, this is a tough question. I think all of them could be anywhere. I think McVay is probably at the top of the list, even though he's had some moments. But he's still a young guy, and I think he's a pretty good coach overall. So I'd probably put him at the top of the list, and then maybe Cincy next, Taylor, I guess. Andy Reid is either 3 or 4. I just I don't trust him at all, even going back to his Eagles years. So he's in the bottom there as well. And then I don't even know. Shanahan, I guess, is probably. I just feel like Shanahan, even if he wins some of these games, he always is a puddle in these games. It doesn't even matter. Like, he'll win by 1 point, sure, but like he tries to lose almost every game that's close. So I feel like he's got to be number 4. I don't know.
I think he's number 4 far and away. I forget. I'm trying to find the tweet. Maybe you could find it or had seen it and know where to look. His team's point differentials in the fourth quarter is something ridiculously bad.
Yeah.
Which
That's not surprising.
Which is just so unfortunate for a guy that I think is a really good, innovative offensive mind. I mean, I think he gets the most out of his teams and his talent. I mean, he was, it wasn't like he was going to the playoffs, but he was getting teams with like C.J. Beathard to like compete and like score points and find a way to win games. I think the guy can coach, but there's just something about the fourth quarter in big games where he runs when he should pass, passes when he should run, kicks when he should go for it, and just never seems to ever be doing the right thing at the right time. And I gotta wonder. I mean, this is what year 18, 19, 20, year 4 for him out there. When does that seat start getting hot? I don't know how jumpy, unless they just view, hey, we don't care about what's happened this year because we're just trying to groom Lance and we have to give him time with Lance and we want him to be the guy to instruct him.
I guess the only question is who would be better. I mean, he has some problems, but he gets them in position. So I don't know. As an owner, are you looking at it as, oh, he just blows too many leads, we got to get rid of him, or, well, he's getting us into the postseason, we're selling tickets, so
Yeah, there's always the
pretty good.
economic considerations.
Just from an owner standpoint or a GM standpoint. Now, John Lynch, he might be different. He played in the league, so I don't know.
Yeah. Were you able to find that stat?
No, I didn't find it. It was just going back to his crappy Super Bowls and championship games.
I don't know where I saw it. Anyway,
The problem is there's too many bad stats in the fourth quarter on Kyle Shanahan. So I looked it up, and there's like 7. So
yeah. So, all right. Well, we all know. The eye test tells you Kyle Shanahan in the fourth quarter, no bueno.
every time you look at him, too, he's just like sweating. He's in his play sheet. He's just he looks like he's in like the hot dog eating contest or something.
All right. Those are our reactions from the games this weekend. I'm very happy with the matchup that we have for the Super Bowl. And I think I saw the graphic. You know, it was like who's rooting for what in the Super Bowl, and it was like this little thin slivers, like for the Bengals. There's a little thin sliver for the Rams. The rest of it was just who cares because this is an awesome matchup. And I think what's exciting about it, and we'll get into a whole lot of the in-depth breakdown next week on the show leading up to the game. But what's exciting is that two teams built in completely different ways. You've got the Bengals, who, like you said, were tanking, got the number 1 overall pick. We forget that they didn't protect him at all last year and broke him. Injured his knee. Gone. And you're like, well, if the Bengals had a hope, they just screwed it up.
Yeah.
And then you come back this year and make the Super Bowl. Just rebuilt out of thin air. And then you have the Rams, who year after year after year are selling their soul to get players, acquire players, and just mortgage the future. Like teams talk about people putting people in cap jail. Like, no, but the Rams for real are actually, they're running it like a Madden franchise. Like, oh, we can trade up to 2024 their first-round picks. Next year, they'll be trading their 2026 first-round picks. They're just going to keep selling them suckers and just keep kicking the can. Who needs draft picks? We'll just keep trading them to get players. So a team that was just assembled like it was a Madden franchise. And one of them is going to win. I mean, two completely unorthodox, the tanking to get better thing isn't unorthodox, but to see it happen that fast.
Yeah, that quick.
And then we're just going to trade all of our draft picks for 4 years and make a Super Bowl.
Hey, here you are. I mean, this is it for the Rams, right? I mean, this should be their year if you're looking at it from a on paper standpoint. I mean, they're already a 4.5-point favorite. It's early, but my guess it would be and at home, back-to-back years here, crazy. But I mean, I think this is you look on paper, there's no way the Rams should lose this game.
No, I don't think.
This is Pro Bowl week. I don't want to get too far. This is Pro Bowl week, so we got way more to talk about than
we got to discuss the Pro Bowl here. Nothing better to talk about. All right. Let's talk about Tom Brady. Let's do it. Let's dive on in. Folks, if you want to throw your Tom Brady thoughts in the comments section, feel free to do so. Let them
send all your tears our way.
Piling them up.
I'd love to see your tears.
So Tom Brady, in a way, it's good that we're doing the show on a Tuesday. Because if we did this show last night, we would still be doing I don't think he's that. What's going on? So over the weekend, it's, Tom Brady's going to retire, and then he's not retiring, or he hasn't made up his mind, and all of this, 2 days of speculation. Frankly, I'm surprised that this morning he puts out his 9-page statement on Instagram and says that he doesn't say he's retired. He does not specifically say, I'm retiring. He just says he's taking, leaving the game, however he put it. I'm surprised because I thought that he would wait till after the Super Bowl. He's saying he's in no rush. I take that at face value. And that let the games play out and not to be a distraction. which now it's going to be. I mean, maybe once it came out anyways, once it leaked out, it's like it's going to be a distraction anyways.
He was going to do that, and then he's just on his yacht somewhere. Da-na-na, da-na-na. Here's Adam Schefter.
He looks over at Giselle, and she's like,
whoops.
Oops. Did I hit send on that? I meant to leave that in drafts to Adam.
I just said I'm a source. I didn't say who I was.
Yeah.
Anonymous source.
Yeah, anonymous source from the Bahamas. So he announced he's essentially retiring. A lot is being made. Folks, if you want us to, we can read the statement and nitpick it to the bitter end, but I don't want to do that. A lot is being made of the fact that in that statement that he put out, he thanks exactly none of the following: the Crafts, Bill Belichick, or any of the coaches, any single Patriot player, or just in general Patriots teammates that he's had, New England, Boston, the fans, the Patriots, and any reference whatsoever. None. Yet he's like thanking the ticket takers at, Raymond James Stadium. I don't know what to, there's so many ways you can read into it. Is it Brady being, hey, I already said all my piece about New England when I was leaving. I already said how I feel about everybody here. And, I don't need to say anything more now. I'm retiring as a Buccaneer. Or, hey, I have to say this now. I'm a member of the Buccaneers. I'm saying all these nice things for them because, in a couple days from now, when they can get around to the workings of releasing me from my contract and I'm retired officially, and I'm on the retired list, I can sign a one-day deal and come back and retire a Patriot, and we get the whole big celebration, and everybody will get their adulation and their love then. And I'm just not going to say it now, because why say it now if I'm going to go do this whole big thing later? But there's just this undercurrent of it that it's a big at everybody here in New England, which I don't understand anymore, because I thought that the hatchet got buried in October. When him and Bill met for like 40 minutes in the locker room after the game in October, I thought they buried the hatchet. Whatever, riff there was, they let it go. And now, essentially, this is like a slap in the face to Robert Kraft if you decide, I'm not going to come back. I'm not going to sign a one-day contract and do a whole retirement ceremony, which is mind-boggling to think about if the greatest player in a sport does not have a retirement ceremony. They don't have a press conference. They don't sit up there with their current coach or their former coach and have a thing. I mean, even Peyton Manning, he retired in Denver. He was up there with a Denver backdrop, spoke about like 14 years with the Colts. Like, to not get any of that out of what is everybody's saying the greatest player of the sport would just be mind-boggling. Like, I can't fathom that. One, just from fans and the sport and what people want out of these things, but also the business side of this. He's supposed to be a savvy business guy, and I feel like he's digging this giant PR hole for himself, maybe because he wants to have a comeback and get out of it.
I don't know about savvy, but I think he just like he gets up, people look at him, and he just like farts gold. I don't know. It's just.
But that's why this is gonna be my last point, Christian. I'll let you go. Is that's while you're playing football. I think if this is like him saying, I don't need to thank New England, I've already been there, done that, I don't want to go down that road anymore. Like, I feel like I've gotten that out of me. Well, you might be screwing yourself up here, because once you stop playing the game, you become significantly less important. It's just a fact. I don't think he's going to go into television and be a studio guy or anything like that.
No, he's definitely not, yeah.
I think he's going to be closer to what Joe Montana did, which is honestly just disappeared. And he had his businesses and his hobbies and his interests. But I think Tom doesn't want to disappear. He wants to have TB12 be successful. It's headquartered in Foxborough. You're gonna like slap, you pay rent to Robert Kraft. You pay a lease to Robert Kraft for that spot. Like, you're going to slap that guy in the face. You're going to slap the organization in the face, the fans. And yeah, you could say, well, he already did it once. That was different. That was leaving the team. This is retiring from playing the sport. If you're going to retrospect and think about your time, 20 years we're in this place. And I just feel like maybe he's overestimating his own importance. And once he's done playing, he's not out there on the field throwing touchdowns at the age of 44, wowing everybody. Who's going to care about a TB12 stretchy band? Doesn't mean as much anymore if he's not out there showing and proving that the method works. I don't know. And more time will tell us if what happens.
Did
Does
he not
he make
prove
them
that it works? For him.
For
It
him.
wouldn't work for me, but
time will tell if something else happens here. But either way, it's going to be for a lot of people. It will ring hollow because at that point it's just spin. You'd think you'd want to have that Buccaneer statement drop, and then within an hour, it's like, him and Robert Kraft have talked, and he plans to have at some point in the future, we'll do this thing, and it's like, okay, it's kind of like bang bang.
that could
It
be
ain't
going
happening.
on. Yeah, it could be going on.
You're gonna wait a day. You would think that those conversations would already be had.
I think
This is-
everybody's a little too sensitive here. I think 2-3
I don't
years
care
ago
one way or
now-
another. I just find it fascinating. It's
Yeah, I
just
mean,
fascinating.
It's a little bit weird, and off the top of the rumors, and then when he confirmed it, it was definitely a little bit definitely a little bit weird. But
Weird.
But I would say I'm not that broken up about it yet, because I don't think he is. I don't think there's got to be something else going on, I would think. If not, then maybe you have a case that you want to be like, bitching and moaning on Twitter and all that stuff. I just, for one, will not do that. I can't find the time of day to do that. But I just think give it time here, and we'll see what happens. If it just like he's off into the sunset retiring a Buck, then it is kind of weird. I mean, I think you're doing yourself a disservice at that point because of how long you spent here, and not even for the fans. Like, the guy doesn't owe us anything. Stop saying that he owes you something. But he, to ride off into the sunset as a Buccaneer when you spent 20 years here, won as many titles, the relationship with Kraft, it would be strange if that's how it ended. I have to believe
with a statement.
Yeah, I have to believe
like
once all the paperwork and maybe there's a money thing there. I don't know what's going on with that, but 2-3 years ago, whenever it was now, he had this whole hoopla thing for New England fans and New England and the Patriots, and I think that was pretty well said. I don't think you need him. Do you want him to just release the same thing again? I think there will be a time and place when Brady comes back to New England and is honored and thanks everybody again. But is that 6 hours after he says he's going to retire with the team he just played, which is the Buccaneers? I mean, we don't even know anything yet. So just chill.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I do. It is fascinating. I mean, I saw Andy Hart tweeted this. Of course, a guy like Brady would suck at who's great at everything, would suck at retiring. The guy who could play forever sucks at retiring. Colin in the comment section, Shefty, one Adam Schefter, had good sources per usual, likely the man in the arena crew. Rumors are now that it was Patriots people, and that's why he omitted any mention of New England and crew, but I have doubts about that. But if that's true, it's likely because his assistant was out with Mac Jones et al. Looking for a new employer. They were spotted at a basketball game, I believe. Regardless of any of that, I'm not surprised that Brady didn't mention the Pat/fans. I made my peace that his connections here were badly injured 2 to 3 years before he even left here. Despite that, he left us with far more positive memories than negative ones. I'll always cherish his time here. More comments. And making me among the happiest football fan for 2 decades. Thank you, Tom Brady, LFG. Also, Brady has been clear that he doesn't want to be a commentator and that he doesn't want to be a coach. I always thought coaching would be a great way for him to stay close to his passion post-retirement, but he's never let up on that. I think that if he takes any football-related job aside from TB12 and athletics clothing, it would be a front office role like John Elway. I can see Manning doing something like that someday too. Agree with all those points. The only thing I'd say is, like, So from watching Man in the Arena and all these things, it's all intertwined somehow. Is that like that too was in a sense like a love letter to his time in New England. I mean, you got like 9 hours of him talking about getting to 9 Super Bowls and all of those years and all of those teammates and coaches. And he talks about Bill. He talks about the ups and downs with Bill. And his last episode, he talks about the parable of the Chinese farmer. And like, when things are bad, you think they're bad, but maybe you don't know that, they're bad for a reason, or that those bad things are actually good things. And, you know, you can't get, overwhelmed by it. You don't know the consequences of anything without perspective in time. And I think maybe part of it is that he can reflect kind of easily on the time on Tampa Bay because it was 2 years and it was fresh and it just happened and he won a Super Bowl and now he's retiring and he doesn't really owe them that much. And but to really have the full, I'm not just going to tell you what happened and what was happening from like me being still a player and a competitor, but I want to emotionally discuss New England. Maybe he isn't ready for that. Potentially.
He is kind of a sensitive guy. I mean,
and that's why it could be a while. The thing is though, if you're on his like marketing team or anything, you could be like, Tom, I understand. Well, we're not going to announce you're retiring until you figure out what you want to say to New England, because it can't be like 3 months apart. Again, from a business standpoint. Colin says you can be sentimental and nostalgic about the good times without be willing to make nice at the end on a personal level. Yeah, I mean, hey, like you said, Christian, time will tell. I'm enjoying it because I enjoyed the whole thing this weekend because it's great. It's just great theater. It's great for people like us who want to come on here and discuss these things. One serious question and then conspiracy theory question for you. Well, we're going to go under the assumption that this is it for Tom. He is retiring. He's retired. He will not play another down in the NFL. Did the Patriots do the right thing by moving on when they did? Given the current situation, everything they have now, their roster, their situation, everything. Did they make the right call?
Tough to say. If you're saying it's going to... if they had given him a contract and he was the same guy that he was in Tampa that he was here, then no. I mean, absolutely not. I think you ride the best player of all time that's ever come into the sport as long as you possibly can. And, he said 45 all along. He's pretty damn spot on with that. Whether that's pressure from Giselle, we'll never know. But I digress. I think at the end of the day, I don't know. It's a tough question to answer. I mean, now it's easy to say, no, obviously they should have kept him. But
I think
who knows? It's kind of impossible to answer, to be honest with you.
It is, but that's the fun part.
I would say they made the wrong choice because I think you had this guy in your grasp. He still played it at an MVP caliber level up until the end. You don't just let a guy like that go. So, no, that would be my answer. But,
I don't think we would have gotten Tampa Tom in New England. I think
that's a huge question. So if you're saying you give him the contract and he's the same guy that he's been for 20 years and he's...
But think about, let's go back to 2019. I mean, where I think he knew he had negotiated wanting to get out. Like he already, unless
you didn't give him the contract though.
Unless you want to go back. I mean, now we're going back to, this isn't about doing things to keep him in 2020. It's go all the way back to 2018, 2017.
Yeah, that's when the problem started. Yeah.
We want to go all the way back there. But you won another Super Bowl in that time. People wanted to say, hey, did they make the right decision by keeping him over Garoppolo? 100% yes. Right? That was pretty much proven when they got to 2 Super Bowls and won one more, and it was like, yeah, this was the right call to keep riding this out. 2019, essentially kind of a lame duck season by Brady standards, given what we saw in 2020 and in 2021 this year. The roster, the weapons around him, is that Bill just, like shutting the water off, trying to get the tenant out of the building? Is that what that essentially was? Which I don't think, because he went out of his way to try and get Antonio Brown and trade for Mohamed Sanu. They it's not like they weren't trying. I think in the end, if this is it for Brady, and if the Patriots remain competitive with Mac Jones and they can say just make a Super Bowl. Trying to say win it's like, again, the impossible standard here. But if they can be competitive in the conference, which, again, all offseason to discuss how close that is with other things. But I think if it was year 2 of Cam Newton, right? And there's like still no plan. The team like won 6 games. Brady has an MVP season and then retires. You'd be like, man, like, we are screwed. And this guy still had something in the tank. Like, what are we doing? At least they have a plan. And because it was 2 years, I think if he kept playing for another like 4 years, you'd be like, wrong call.
Yeah, but you're going back to the point where they did not give him the contract, and at that point he was pretty much out the door. We all know that now. If he gives him the contract, then you're looking at, okay, 2019, how does that shake out when he actually cares? 2020, 2021. If he had said back whenever they said, Tom, we'll give you a contract, how long are you going to go? If you're still playing at an elite level, we'll go 2 years here, and then maybe a third if you're playing at a certain level. Then I think he's a different guy. I think it all stems back to that. They pissed him off by not giving him the deal. And then obviously everybody went sour. That's just how it went. And then you had Cam Newton and he went to Tampa. So that's why I say it's an impossible question, because if you're answering, they give him the contract, he plays up into the same level as Tampa Tom or whatever you want to say, they made the wrong choice. that's pretty clear. I think he's playing at an MVP caliber level. You don't get rid of an MVP.
Yeah. Conspiracy theory question, Christian. So Tom does not say the word retire, retirement, retired. Those words do not appear in his statement. And the fact that he doesn't acknowledge anything to do with New England, the fact that he goes out of his way to glowingly speak about the Tampa Bay organization and and stepping away, is just because he knows he's got something left in the tank. He knows with the situation there in Tampa that, because 2 months ago he was talking like a guy who would want to play to 50. Then the Antonio Brown thing goes down, and then all sorts of other stuff happens, and we'll maybe find out if there was more going on in that locker room. He feels that Tampa is no longer a championship level organization, that he could win a ring and compete at a championship level with that team. And so he's going to pull the old Brett Favre, and he's going to retire. And then around July, he's going to say, I'm bored. I want to come back. And Tampa's already filled their quarterback spot. They've already filled their roster. They don't have any cap space. And so they have to either release him or trade him. Do you think that there is any merit to the people who say that? And that's why there's nothing written about the New England Patriots, because he knows this isn't the end for him yet.
No. If that happens, would I be super surprised? I guess not, because I think whatever, anything is possible with that guy. If he wants to come back and play, someone will give him a deal. But I don't see that happening. I think he is actually genuine when he says, or maybe he's getting pressured again from family, from wife, from Giselle, whatever it might be. I think he's just done. I think he's kind of ready to move on to whatever the next thing might be, family, and I know Wickersham had a story, and
he's got to mow the grass now. He's gonna have to mow the grass and do the dishes, but
he wants to play golf and he wants to do all this other stuff. So he'll be out there somewhere. But Wickersham had a story, and there was something in there about Giselle way back when saying, is this a family day or a Tom day? And I think there's family pressure there, that he's just had enough, and he's just ready to wrap it up. So I don't see him coming back as i.e. Brett Favre, but I've seen crazier things.
Would it hurt his legacy to do so? To pull a Brett Favre?
No, because he's much better than Brett Favre. Plain and simple.
True. I mean, it's totally possible. It is all plausible. I think, like I said, I find it hard to believe that the greatest player who played the game would not have or get a retirement ceremony. This is like say, a guy like Ray Allen who got drafted by like the Milwaukee Bucks and then went to Seattle and then went to Boston and then went to Miami. And it's like you kind of spent like 4 or 5 years in all these places and you were a Hall of Fame player and everybody wants their little piece and you can kind of just give a little bit. You are the greatest player who played basically 20 years. You built your legacy with one team. And if you never like in retirement, I know he's acknowledged it plenty, but like acknowledging it now as you're stepping away from the game and you don't go, if he like doesn't go back, if it can't be like next year, it can't be 5 years when they're like, we're going to retire Tom's. Because guess what? I think if he decides that he doesn't want to come back and do, because you know Kraft wants it. Kraft wants that 1-day contract, make publicly good with Tom and shake hands and kiss cheeks or kiss lips, you know, those two, and have this whole big PR stunt because Tom's a Patriot and he's going to retire a Patriot and everybody can feel good. If that doesn't happen, the Patriots are going to be like, hey, Tom, you know, in like 2 seasons, you know, November 15th, we want to retire your number. Do you think you could come? Would it be maybe you could just Skype. We'll put it up on the big screen. You don't even have... No. They're going to be like, ugh. So that's the thing that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Because if Brady is just being cold and calculating here, I mean, his dad said when it ended, it was going to end ugly. And I honestly thought him leaving here wasn't all that ugly. Like, for fans, it was upsetting. But it seemed the only person upset was Kraft that this was kind of ending. An inevitability. This is going to get ugly. This part of it. If he, like, doesn't want to come back here. If Tom Brady doesn't want to set foot in Gillette Stadium again. Ever.
Well, yeah, obviously that would be problematic, I would say.
Like, if you're the Crafts and that's what's going on right now, you're ripping your hair out.
Yeah, but
because you've built your whole brand has been built on that guy.
This is just instant reaction, though. Give it time. I know Tom Brady loves himself some Tom Brady. Tom Brady is also not the guy that is going to make a show of it and say, I'm retiring after 2022. It's a farewell tour and all this stuff. He was going to go out when he wanted to go out. I am willing to give it some time here because I don't think he's the type of guy that just wants to be in the limelight. I don't know, stuff to say because he does, but he doesn't. I don't think he wants to be just always in the center of things. He's kind of a guy that is, you know, superstar status, but also does he really live like that? I don't know.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, I was reading an ESPN magazine. Go figure. I was waiting around in a CVS, so I
taking a dump.
Had to read a magazine. Now I was getting my booster shot. And so I picked the magazine off the rack. And it was talking about him at one of these, like, it was a year he wasn't in the Super Bowl, but he was at the Super Bowl, like one of these parties. And he was talking about how, like, Peyton Manning and Will Ferrell were, like, holding court, you know, essentially, like, they're the ringleaders there. And Tom came into the room, and literally how Tom is like gravity. Like, everything gets sucked up into, like, everybody gravitates to Tom. But he's not doing anything. He's not trying to, like, be the showman and, like, oh, I want to entertain this big crowd. He just wants to do his thing. So you're right in that instance. But I don't know. You can do things. You could say, hey, we're going to have this thing, and we just want to say nice things about you. You could say some simple things. And no, we won't even ask questions. We won't be like, you know, Tom maybe isn't the type who's going to want to stand up there and take questions from like Patriots beat reporters because too there's gonna be some knucklehead. So Tom, did you really deflate the balls? Like it's like you want to avoid all of that. It would be absolutely stunning if that never happens. Like you said, gotta give it time. I'm just surprised it's not something that's pre-planned. The Patriots just tweeted out another video. Thank you, Tom, with like 3-4 minutes of clips.
I don't know how I
I
don't know how soon the Patriots were notified that he was retiring, to be honest with you. I don't think he's the type of guy, again, that's going to tell everybody and have this roundabout thing that let's round everybody up. I'm going to stand on the podium and tell everybody I'm retiring. I don't think it went like that.
No.
So you're talking about a pre-planned thing. I don't know if he wanted to retire. He knew he was going to do this on February 1st. He might have waited till after the Super Bowl. Who knows?
Yeah. That's the other part of it. Is like, Giselle wants him home. What happens in, 4 months when she's like, yeah, I'm kind of
sick of you. The stadium?
Like, yeah. Is today a Tom day? It's a Tom day, isn't it? Get out. Their whole life has been him in football. I mean, now it's the real world, baby.
Yeah.
That's what's going to be fascinating to watch, too, is a guy who his life, every single waking moment, is football. Preparation for football, training for football, taking care of his body for football. I think he's probably still going to eat avocado ice cream. I
think he'll be involved in things like celebrity golf matches and TB12, and I think that's kind of his shtick. He is not the type of person like Peyton Manning that's going to go on ESPN and put on a TV broadcast of watching the games and talking to his brother.
He's not going to go on SNL and talk about Emily in Paris.
No, I think he's made his money. He's famous. He doesn't want to be the center of everything in terms of like a Peyton Manning type or someone like that.
Yeah, but what will fill that void? Nothing can compare to being the man in the arena. So what will he do next?
It was going to end eventually. I hate to break it to you.
We'll have to find out. Other big, here's the thing. Talk about in a day of statements. People, new NFL news and people making statements.
A whopper. We call it a whopper.
Brian Flores is suing the NFL. Basically alleging that the New York Giants, who he's also suing, violated the Rooney Rule.
3 teams in the NFL.
Bill Belichick is also roped into this because, like the guy who he proclaims to be not able to use technology, he texted the wrong Brian in his phone, telling them that he was excited that he got the job. And he's like,
the situation is not funny. The fact that he possibly texted the wrong guy is pretty funny. I'm not going to
lie. Are you talking to Brian Daboll or Brian Flores? And he was like, oops, I effed that up. Sorry.
I just feel like that's such like a...
And that was 3 days before he was going to interview with the Giants, so the hay was in the barn, so to speak, and Flores went for a sham interview. And he's suing the NFL over all of that. Pretty crazy, if you ask me. I think it's admirable because now, Brian Flores, this goes one of two ways. You win your case, which is just going to mean you get money. You're not given a job. Or they settle the case, which means you get money. Or you lose the case and you get nothing. Either way, I don't know. He's essentially, I think, sacrificing his coaching career for this fight, which I have the utmost respect for. I just hate that we kind of know it won't make a difference. Hopefully this is the thing that makes a difference.
I tell you what, this might allow other people to come out of the woodwork, though.
Hopefully it does. This is the this is the finger being pulled out of the dike and the floodgates open. And I've seen more people kind of jump in, former players or coaches, jumping in and retweeting the notices and stuff and talking about it.
Players as well.
Players. absolutely crazy. So what I don't get is when, and this was kind of a story that I wanted to talk about before this news broke, which was that how does Brian Flores not have a job? Because we felt like, yeah, he was grifting with Dolphins management because they passed on Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert and all these guys, and it's like, ah,
Mhm.
you gave me Tua, who I
Well,
didn't
even the
want.
Giants. The Giants said we found a guy that was more qualified. I don't know how a guy who's never been a head coach in the NFL is more qualified than a guy who has, and also who put together a couple winning seasons for a franchise that was kind of in the dumpster.
Yeah.
So
Um,
it's just kind of weird. And I mean, look, it's gonna be a messy situation either way. I would imagine.
and then of course, in a day of statements, the NFL put out their statement on the Brian Flores suit. This is what it says. The NFL and our clubs are deeply committed to ensuring equitable employment practices and continue to make progress in providing equitable opportunities throughout our organizations. Diversity is core to everything we do, and there are a few issues on which our clubs and our internal leadership team spend more time. We will defend against these claims, which are without merit. Bleh. On one hand, it's like, what are they going to say? Ah! You got us. We're guilty. We are racist. On the other hand, I mean, it's just more of I saw the whole meme of the guy slapping the glue the tape on the leaking container the flex tape, uh, and it's like the Brian Flores lawsuit slap bigger social injustice decals on the whole. Oh, somebody tweeted, the end racism logo in the end zone wasn't enough. It didn't work. um
Yeah.
it's I'm not
It-
shocked by the NFL's response, but to come out and say that it's without merit, it's like I think it has merit. The rule is cut and dry, and a team allegedly, it would seem here, already picked a guy and decided to just keep interviewing other people just to fulfill that rule. That's bad. If anything, you should say we're not commenting. If you have to make a statement on it, you're saying the whole no comment type of situation. We'll have to see how it plays out. It's without merit. Joke. I thought the
yeah.
biggest joke today was the NFL and Roger Goodell releasing a statement on Tom Brady talking about his greatness. One, dude, back off. You're the guy who robbed us of 4 more games of Tom Brady. So you're the last person who should be speaking today. And then of course this has to happen. I mean, this is the bigger story, in my opinion. The whole Brady thing is fun. It's good theater. Inconsequential compared to this.
Yeah,
And
another part of that lawsuit is Stephen Ross, I think his name is, right? The owner there for
yeah,
the Dolphins supposedly offered him 100K to lose 100K per game if he lost
yeah.
for a
Which
tanking bribe, whatever you want to call it. That's what they're saying. But
which I think means suspension or
oh, at
removal of the
least draft
team.
picks,
I mean, there's a
whatever.
depending upon how harsh you want to come down. This is one of those things that it starts small. You're just like, okay, this is a guy. Just quit. The ramifications of something like this could be huge for the
Mhm.
league because this is going to go to court. Clearly, Flores. I mean, where is it? This is what he said. God has gifted me with a special talent to coach the game of football, but the need for change is bigger than my personal goals. I think Brian Flores is an absolute G, and if he feels like I can destroy the power structure of the NFL to make this a better for everyone, I think he'd do it. I don't know. I mean, hey, everybody's got a price. At what point does he say, "Sure, I'll settle for that"?
Yeah.
Or does he want to go all out? No, take me to court. Let's go to court, baby. Disclosure, all out, everything on the table. So we're gonna get that. This will go on for months, if not
Yep.
a year plus of filings and disclosures and picking through text. This is gonna be the Wells report in context all over again. Which again
Yep.
is good for people in places like us. Um, I just hope that something substantial actually changes because we've all talked about this being an issue and a problem. And hey, how come this guy didn't get a job? Or wait, this guy got it. The special teams assistant got it over this other guy from another. Like, what's going? And he didn't even get interviews. Like, what's going
I saw
on?
Stephen A. was talking about this the other day. Eric Bieniemy is another big topic. He is I would say more than qualified to be a head coach, just as any other coordinator is, and he has not gotten an opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know what that. I'm not saying it's that, but I'm just saying it's just another example. And Stephen A. brought it up the other day. So
we were having this exact same conversation last year about Bieniemy, and yeah, he has got stuff in his past that maybe is what's hey, right or wrong, that's what's holding. But in the NFL, where you've got owners who are like pulled over with whole pharmacies in their back seat, and intoxicated, who get off the hook, and you got players themselves who go to jail and come back and get jobs. That's fine, but a coach has something happen in his past and he's a person of color and he can never even get an interview for a job when he's touted year after year after year as one of the best coaches. The NFL and its morals are all over the map. So hopefully this is something that puts more things in their proper place. I don't know. I know for the next 2 days, right or wrong, my Twitter feed is just going to be locked on Brady and Flores and just refreshing.
pretty much, yeah. I mean, that sums it up.
The two big headlines. Colin in the comment section also says Gruden suing the NFL because they singled him out for being racist. Flores suing the NFL because they made no honest effort to hire him, presumably for racist reasons, only giving him an interview to meet the Rooney Rule requirements. Yeah, that's ironic. Colin also says, seems like the NFL has some lingering problems. Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Just a bit.
Just a bit. So those are the three big things. Let's go ahead, Christian, and maybe we can try and lighten the mood a tad here, and we will do Hot and Not.
It's time for Hot.
Hot.
You want to talk about hot?
Hot.
Please stop doing that.
Doing what?
Continue. Go ahead.
And Not.
God, is he a moron? Oh my God, he doesn't shut up.
It's so stupid.
Stupid decisions.
Dum-dums. The naughtiest knot of the year.
Oof. Suck fest. Suck sauce.
On the 360 Sports Show.
All right, Christian. Hot and not. Good, bad, up, down, however you want to slice it. I will let you start with the hot.
Yeah, I'll do my own, and then I'll do the overview of the people. Just the general people of the world, and most notably of the NFL world. But yeah, mine is Rafael Nadal won in 5 sets over Medvedev this past weekend. And that brings him to a total of 21 Grand Slams, 13 of which are at the French Open, which I know people are trying to discredit his 21 because he won 13 in one place. Why we're doing that, I don't know. We always have to complain about something, but it's just ridiculous. Him, and I know Djokovic does not play for his own personal crap, whatever. I'm not even going to get into that.
That goes on the not list.
Yeah, that's been on the not list. It's just too much to even, it's a headache. But Nadal is 21 Grand Slams. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Did you want to give your big overview one, or did you want me to go?
I'll do it now if you want, or I'll
go
wait
for
for
it.
you.
Give me the big overview one.
This is for everybody, right? This is, I've seen this all over the place, so I'm just going to bring it to this part of our world here. The other hot is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals for ending the Kansas City Chiefs season. So Jackson Mahomes will no longer be on a football field for another year. Doing TikToks along with the Patrick Mahomes' wife. I know a lot of people do not prefer watching their content or whatever you want to call it. So you're welcome. I will give that hot for you all out there in the world.
All right. For my hot, I'm going to go with kind of in general the resurgence of NFL kickers here in the playoffs. We've given kick. I mean, there was a week this year. I think it was week like 5 or 6, where and the Bengals were part of this game, with the Packers where there was like 7 missed field goals,
Right.
extra points in one game, and like it was the worst field goal kicking and extra point week in NFL history. Like historically, comically bad. And we get over kickers all the time when they. I mean, Chris. I mean, we made a 2-minute long reel of just doink field goals.
Doink City, baby.
For the Schadenfreude. And we love to hate on them and laugh at them when things go wrong.
I'll tell you what, that's our first 360 Sports Show shirt right there. Doink City.
Doink City.
Via
Ding
360 Sports
ding
Show.
ding doink.
Ding Doink City.
But kickers in the playoffs, nails. I mean, no team has lost a game because a kicker shanking an extra point, which all these games, like, even to get, like, the last game of the year, the Chargers-Raiders game, with all the scoring that was happening at the end, and it was like, oh, God, watch, the Chargers are just going to score here, and then this guy's going to shank the extra point. Or, oh, my God, this guy's going to shank a chip shot to, like, send it to, to force to keep overtime going. Like, oh, my God. Nails. And especially the Bengals kicker, McPherson, 12 for 12 in the 3 playoff games with 2 game winners.
He's ridiculous.
Absolutely on fire as a rookie. On fire. And then also things like Robbie Gould, the last 2 weeks, like first he's kicking over the Packers during pregame introductions. This week he's literally kicking at the Rams while they're warming up for the second half. He's trying to fight. He's like flexing on Jalen Ramsey, who's
total tool bag move by this guy.
Like getting on his face. Like some kicker swag. Kickers got their swag back, and I think
also you
think
can't leave out
good.
this one. He kicked in between like a cheerleader line against the Cowboys, I think.
yeah. He kicked to the cheerleaders. So I mean. No, hey,
yikes!
The kicker. I know. Pat McAfee is here for it, but the kicker swagger is good. It's good to see because I'd rather them be a little obnoxious and be ringing home kicks than looking just like puddles.
I'll tell you what, that McPherson kid, he's got something brewing. Like he's got that Vinatieri vibe. I'm not kidding. He is like he's kind of lights out.
Oh, that's gonna be. Next week, we can go through all the prop bets that will be in existence for the Super Bowl. But the odds on him hitting a game-winning field goal, right?
Pretty good.
Hey, Joe Burrow's going to get the ball.
He gets a chance.
Tie game, no timeouts, minute 21 on the clock.
All I'm saying is don't give McPherson the chance to win the game because that guy is lights out.
Yeah. The way it's going, he's going to kick a 65-yarder to win the Super Bowl. That's what's going to happen.
Probably.
That's what's going to happen.
No, what will happen is the Rams will get it at midfield. They'll kick a field goal from the 35. They'll somehow get it down to the 35. They'll kick it short. The Bengals will get the ball and kick it from 65 and make it.
What are the odds on that? That's what I want to know.
Just short field goal kick?
Yeah.
That's a good bet.
Misses it short. That is the one. That kick is the one. Like it's just the fly in the ointment of my whole kickers having great postseasons because that one was bizarre. But anyway, I digress. Now to the knots, Christian.
I will have to look because I forgot. Oh yeah, I mean, just we don't need it. We already kind of hashed this out. But the NFL, this whole thing here again, the NFL is right in the middle of something. And obviously Flores, I would say, kind of on the hot list. I mean, he's taking a big risk for his career, but the NFL, the other side of it, their statement already, it's just they just continue to be the shield, right? I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, I had a couple of other small things, but then this coming out today just takes the cake. The Giants, and I mean, I guess in a way, what's crazy is if Bill Belichick isn't just horrible at texting, none of this comes out. But
yeah,
for better,
not, yeah.
For better or worse, I mean, I'd say it's equal parts. It's the Giants and Ross here. With
you want another
Dolphins.
Conspiracy? This is what I read earlier. Yeah, Belichick, he texted Flores accidentally on purpose So then Flores would have some ammo to go do this because that was what was happening all along. So he wanted it to happen.
Well, I'll go even one step
I'll
further,
allow for
Christian.
it.
You know, when he made the football life, Bill Belichick, and he was like in the car he couldn't figure out the clock. He's just been laying the seeds for being bad with technology for years,
Yeah.
so that someday when this
MySpace and-
situation presented itself, no one would doubt that Bill Belichick just sucks at using a phone. It's just facts already in evidence.
Yeah.
You can't dispute those.
That's it. In all seriousness, I just wonder though if a guy like Flores is just going to be like an example of something. I mean, I just think he should be at the top of the list here as an example for something that started, maybe, hopefully, right? I think we're all kind of in that boat because it's just one of those situations where they created this rule in 2003. Has it been rehashed or anything? Has anyone brought it up again? Because how long have teams, whether the Giants actually did this or not, who knows? The lawyers can deal with that. I'm just here to talk about it. But how long has this been going on for teams? Because I feel like you can easily sneak under this rule.
Where's the oversight? That's all I want to know.
Exactly.
Do you does somebody provide something for the league to say, thank you, every year that says, hey, these are the people we're interviewing and when, and here's like a notary that said this is actually when we spoke to them and blah, 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 blah.
The NFL is going to protect the NFL, but it's weird that they came out this brilliant statement already saying, nope, we stand by the letter of this rule. Just like, okay, have you even looked into this? I'm sure you've looked really hard at this situation already.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the knot. That's a good knot.
I agree. Yeah, I'm right there for both of us. That is the naughtiest knot of the week. Two quick things, Christian. The Washington football team.
I knew you were going to bring this up.
Will be announcing their new mascot, logo, the whole shebang tomorrow.
You're
on
so
Groundhog
excited about this,
Day.
too. Like, you picked them all year long, too.
Because they're just going to go back to what they were. It's going to be a giant gag. We're going back to being the Washington Redskins.
You want to talk about bad owners? Washington.
But in all seriousness, they're supposed to announce tomorrow. I had seen 2 leaks a few weeks ago that it was going to be Red Tails, which is one of the names I think a lot of people talked about. There was some momentum for. But then just a few days ago, somebody found the handling company for the NFL and their domains registered Commanders. So it will be the Washington Commanders, which I don't think is horrible, but it's so generic after a whole 18-month odyssey of finally acting on changing the racist name and imagery. Years and years and years of pressure to do so. And instead of saying, let's find a way to maybe do the opposite here and honor a all-black Air Force squadron, or maybe work with some native tribes, a tribal office, and how could we respectfully do this? We still want to honor the legacy, the legend, the traditions of this area, and we'd like to find a way. No, we're just going to say, the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Compared to what it could have been, Commanders kind of sucks. I agree with Colin. Should have been the Red Tails. That would have been cool.
So, yeah, exactly. The Red Tails was perfect. And I don't know if it was just like, this is like, alternate endings to movies. Somebody leaked out. I saw the logo. I got to try and find it. Which I thought was going to be phenomenal. Commanders. I mean, I haven't seen any imagery for that. And then like Joe Theismann, we know it's going to be it. Joe Theismann, I guess, talked to some newspaper and was like, I think the Commanders is great because Washington has lots of commanders and it's a good name.
I don't think it's the worst thing ever, but I think they're like, I don't know. It took you 18 months to come up with the word commander.
Yeah. The Matland Tiburon. Yes. Going back to the Madden creative franchise days.
Yeah, right.
Man. Just puke. That should have honestly been on the not list too. We can throw that on. Supplemental not is, if this is indeed, I mean, we'll be able to actually react next week because the news will be official. But Washington
Just so you
Commanders.
know, this is our show. We can put anything on the not list we want to.
That's true. Yeah, we can do with it as we please. Honestly, the whole show for the most time is the not list, Christian.
You're not wrong about that. Yep.
Last thing I want to discuss. We don't have any picks this week.
Oh,
Though I guess
I'm picking the
Though-
AFC, brother.
Though I guess I should. Why is that? Because Mac Jones is going to be in the game. I should update the standings here for us.
Yeah, let's hear it.
But
Who's in the lead right now? Tell them. Tell the people.
tell the people. Let me get there. Let me get there. San Fran 0. Los Angeles 5. KC 0. KC 0. So Christian, heading into the Super Bowl, you have a 166 to 161 lead. So.
And the Super Bowl is worth 2 points, so I win.
No, we will have to come up. I think we should come up with a litany of categories and things to
We will do that. Yeah.
have a friendly wager on. And maybe even put it out there for the people. Hey, play along with our 360 Sports Show scorecard. If I have time between work and school, I'll make that happen.
I would rather not. I would rather let people eat and watch the game rather than put up with our BS. But you know what? We'll see.
Oh, so maybe we this would be like the 360 Sports Show scorecard would have to be people watching us watch the game. Like number of times Christian says, "What a moron."
Yeah,
Number of
that's
times-
a good over under.
Number of times Andrew complains about the way they call holding. All those sorts of things.
Hey, we can put something together.
Yeah, Colin says we'll gladly participate with the scorecard. So we'll effort something. We will definitely have something that we will present next week. We will pick the things for ourselves, and then we will hand it out to the people. So, but anyway, obviously no game this weekend. We've got the Pro Bowl in Vegas. Your thoughts on the Pro Bowl as an entity, and does it mean anything, and should it even still happen, Christian? I probably know your answer.
I'm going
Go.
to keep this short and sweet. I could give 2 poops about the Pro Bowl.
I think for the NFL, it's completely pointless. You have an all-pro list. If you want to name some sort of, I don't even know why you have both.
I would rather see the inside of my toilet bowl than the Pro Bowl.
That is a Pro Bowl. If you got one of those fancy ones.
With the bidet?
Yeah, the bidet. That's a Pro Bowl.
Heated seat?
Yeah. Gabby in the comment section, does literally anyone in the entire world care about the Pro Bowl? No.
Very accurate. The answer is no. Yeah.
The players don't even care anymore because guess what? It used to be like, hey, you go to Hawaii. It was a big deal. It was kind of one of these like you could network there. That was where all the tampering would happen. Now all these guys slide into each other's DMs. Like there's no tampering is happening all over the place. Bill Belichick is probably
was that flatulence or was that?
Bill Belichick is probably accidentally tampering right now on his cell phone and he doesn't even know it. So it doesn't mean anything to the players anymore. It's not a big deal to go to Hawaii. It's not even in Hawaii. It's Vegas. You could go to Vegas whenever you want. And for a sport like football, the Pro Bowl, to play a game. Now, I'm up for all the skills challenges. Let's see who's faster.
Yeah.
Let's see who can throw the furthest. Let's see who's the most accurate. I'd be just don't have the rookie flag football game on the sand anymore. Mark Edwards. We don't need
to be honest with you, right? I'm more interested in the players playing on Madden than I am the actual Pro Bowl game. Yes, they're doing that now. So and they're doing that again this year. I would rather watch that than the Pro Bowl itself. The skills is good. The Madden game is better than the Pro Bowl. Why have the Pro Bowl?
And nobody really tries anymore. It's just, and the NBA made some adjustments to make their All-Star game more fun and a little more competitive, and I think they've found at least a temporary solution for that. And basketball is a pickup sport. Football's not a pickup sport. Football is a physical game. You want to see guys hitting. You don't want to see guys.
Technically, you do pick up the football, but I understand what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's more physicality when me and you go and play. Hey, let's play some pickup football in the backyard than there is in the Pro Bowl. So that's the thing. Now, one guy talk
you
about
just challenge me right now?
Yeah, bro.
Is
Me
that a
and you.
challenge?
I'll hike it to you. You try and get past me. Let's go outside right now in the snow. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. There you
I'll
go.
meet you at the park.
Neither of us can walk in the snow right now because it's up to our shins. But yeah, let's do it.
The one guy though always will respect this. I think it was 2007 or no 2006 Pro Bowl. AFC ran a fake punt. Sean Taylor came up and absolutely annihilated
I
the punter.
remember that one. Yep.
And it was like that was a moment in that game where there was always like the Pro Bowl was kind of being played nice and kind of playing nice to each other, and then something like that happens in like the third quarter because you had guys like Ray Lewis who were maniacs who were like, wow, he had to win this $50K, and like it didn't matter if it was a game that meant nothing or a game that was the Super Bowl, they wanted to just smack people.
I
And
think
like,
there's a difference.
all right,
between-
boys, time to really strap them up, and that just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, no, and nor should it. I mean, you're asking guys to play another game, like Colin said. They already added another game. Now you
Yep.
need the Pro Bowl on top of that. You're asking guys to do that. Everybody wants to dip out of this game anyway. The skills is good, keep that. But the Pro Bowl itself, I don't know. I think horse racing is more interesting. It's just like I think you can give, I think you can give the guys the honor, right, of making the Pro Bowl team as like an entity, right, as like. You're an all-star, you're a Pro Bowl, recognize that person, recognize that player. But playing the actual game, I think is just stupid.
Yep, I agree. Horse racing, I'd go like marble racing. They draw the lines in the sand and they let the marbles race down in the water.
Curling is a great one.
Curling. How about hurling? You ever watch hurling?
I did way back when on Saturday nights, but I don't know what kind of hurling you mean.
It's a Gaelic sport. It's probably one of the most brutal. I have a calendar. I don't think it's in this one. I have a calendar of all. Each month is like a different
For
sport you've never
instance,
heard
the
of.
year Cam Newton was the quarterback of the Patriots, I took part in hurling. But
Yeah.
outside of that, no.
No, they played it. It's basically like you have like a ball that you like can bounce on a stick, or you can you like move it up the field. It's kind of like lacrosse, but you don't have like the.
I do. Okay, yeah.
You know what I
know
mean?
you're talking about. Yeah.
And it's brutal. There's like no rules. The only rules is just like you gotta
Yeah.
get the ball past these two sticks, and you could take your stick and just go bash another guy in the head. They had it at Fenway a few years ago.
Jeez.
There was a 2.5 hour delay because an actual brawl broke out, which is just common in
That's
the
cool.
game.
Yeah. Turns into boxing, UFC. Well, I'm down for it.
Yeah. So I would rather watch that than the Pro Bowl, obviously. So that is going to do it. I am sure in the coming week there are going to be more developments on this Brady front and on the Brian Flores front, which we are going to be rapt attention. And next week we will give our full preview of the Super Bowl, and we'll work on a scorecard to try and give the people a little something fun. So, but in the meantime, that'll do it for us here
Colin.
tonight.
We want to be able to entertain Colin.
Yeah, that's all. That's what we're here for. We're really
That's
just
the
here
goal.
we're here for only about like 2 or 3 people's entertainment, ourselves and one other. So that'll do it for the 360 Sports Show. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch for the live stream. And if you can't catch us live, you can catch us as a podcast through Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcasts from. So until next week, have a good one, everybody.
See ya.